Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.
Hello and welcome to Enterprise Morning on Enterprise TV. I am Henry Igwibike. Well, it's the first Friday in December and the last day of the week. Of course, we shall be heading into the reviews of what the newspapers are saying this morning, and followed by our conversation also this morning. It's a subject I want to believe you can't wait to be part of. My guest, of course, in the studios is Barrister Evans Ofeli, an attorney at law, but it's not a given that Barrister Ofeli is one individual who switches between the barrister's gown and the rabbi's shawl. Barrister Ofeli, you're welcome to Enterprise Morning. And also I have with me, as usual, Mr. Cyril Abaku. He is a public affairs analyst and a communicator. You're welcome to Enterprise Morning, Mr. Cyril. Now let's move straight to our newspaper headlines for today and start off. We have on Daily Trust, the big news says, Kaduna killing, not a mistake, says Gumi. And on the riders of the same newspaper, we have Army attack against Air Force advice sources. Officers grumble over the lack of synergy between services. We've learned our lessons. Our operations remain joint. Tinubu vows to punish anyone found culpable. And on the upper sleeve of the same newspaper, we have excitement as $20 billion Dangote refinery receives crude oil. Gunmen kidnap Nasarawa University students. And straight on the downsleep of the same newspaper, we have more than 80% of Gaza population displaced. But of course, let's come back home and try to make sense of the big story we have today. I'd love to start with you, Mr. Cyril. What do you think about this? Of course, we've all known Gumi and his antics, but don't you think what do you think he is trying to make out of all of this?
No, so clearly, I mean, you've used the word antics, but I'm careful how I want to enter the conversation. The Daily Trust newspaper, which is carrying this as banner headline, first of all, is the voice of the North. This is crass. This is naked politics, naked journalism at its yes, at its as naked as it can be. This newspaper has been referring to the bombing as a massacre, and we must take note of this trajectory of reportage, because it's leading somewhere. Now, you saw the story. Sheikh Gumi was saying that the bombing was not an error, which means he is saying that the government pre-planned, premeditated, and deliberately orchestrated the killing of its own people.
Don't you think that's an indictment?
Well, let's move on. Okay. The writer now says sources within the military establishment is saying that the army struck against the Air Force advice. These are not things to be taken lightly. I hope the president is watching. These are not things to be taken lightly, because clearly it will have political consequences. It will have serious implications for security. It will have serious implications for how, the age-long North-South dichotomy is going to play out even under his own presidency. He must act very fast. And one of the things the president must do is, sincerely speaking, I wonder why the service chiefs are still keeping their jobs till now. The head of the defense, the head of the army, head of Air Force, head of Navy. I wonder what they're still doing in retaining their seats. And why are we not seeing a faster, more public interface driven investigative process that will make Nigerians believe that this was not at all at anybody's, that this wasn't somewhat planned by some people to harm or to hurt the North. It was how they sold the narrative that Chibok was planned by Jonathan, and it cost him his presidency. So if the president will continue to treat this with kid gloves, believing that it's just somebody ranting in a corner, Sheikh Gumi made a statement. It has become banner headline on Daily Trust. The North has this is like the North speaking to the president. I hope he's listening.
Barrister Ofeli, this is a very strong agenda, and how disastrous is this?
Well, we have said this repeatedly that there is a likelihood that the army were uncoordinated because a drone strike requires precision.
Yeah.
And like we said before, that if you look at the Geneva Convention on International Humanitarian Law, by that protocol, precision bombing is critical in armed conflict. Now, this is a 14-year-old armed conflict that by now the military should have gathered considerable experience as to how the bandits and the insurgents operate. Okay? And they should know by hindsight the kind of targets or how they congregate and aggregate, and they should have the requisite technological equipment to get their target effectively ascertained. Okay, but now you can see that the Army and the Air Force, they're having some rumbles, which means that there's a level in which the internal disagreement between the forces and their leadership may have been the major reason for this mishap. You see, we are dealing with the Nigerian issue now.
Yeah.
There's an international side of it.
Please, can you spell that out for us?
Yeah, no, the international side of it has to do with, like I said, the Geneva Convention. We're a signatory to it. You understand?
Yeah.
Gumi is just saying it was deliberate. That's what he's saying, in a manner of speaking. You understand? The international community have not spoken. Okay? We're a signatory to the Geneva Convention. The Geneva Convention determines international humanitarian rights and law. Okay? Now, that international humanitarian law, which is actually spearheaded in one angle by the Red Cross. Okay, so across the world, if you go to Maiduguri, go to Zamfara, those insurgencies torn areas, you will see the huge presence of the Red Cross. Okay.
And the Red Crescent too.
Yes, from the international community. Okay, so they too will be investigating and compiling their reports. Okay, I saw a report of it this morning. It was covered in the village itself, where they were all talking about the fact that they came out for a Muslim celebration. And because of the huge presence of people, that happened. This attack is exactly how the insurgents attack.
Okay.
They attack during festive period when there's huge presence of people. So is it that the army has taken clue from the insurgents, from the Boko Haram and the bandits, to begin to attack their own the same way the insurgents would attack? So this is one mistake too many. The other time they killed fishermen, they've hit over and over again. This is about the 7th attack. One was at the IDP. Okay? So if Gumi is saying that this is deliberate, I may not be saying expressly that it's deliberate.
Okay, because that's actually what I want to ask you. If you are in affinity with what Gumi is saying.
The truth is that my own assertion would be that Gumi is not far away from the truth. Because if the lizard of the homestead should neglect to do the things of which his kind is known, it will be mistaken for the lizard of the farmland. In this case, the military have failed to do exactly that which they are supposed to do, and that is to scrutinize your target effectively. This same problem you see now that we're having, when military strike recklessly, that is the same way Nigeria is run.
Exactly.
Exactly the same. It's a replica of the way the country is run. When you remove subsidy thoughtlessly, when you are not able to run the economy, when you don't think about the people who are supposed to benefit from the dividend of democracy before you take action. Section 14.2 of the 1999 Constitution says, it is hereby accordingly declared that sovereignty belongs to the people, through which government derive our legitimacy, that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. The law didn't say that the bombing and striking of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. So why is the focus on killing people? let me tell you, this is genocide. I don't want to preempt the international community, but this is pure genocide. Because we had a former chief of staff. Is it chief of staff for Ejirika was the chief of army staff. Okay. Yes. Who did all he could to exterminate insurgency and was accused of genocide. But here we are. We have the military now taking such operation, full-blown operation against harmless citizens. That village, they have no social amenity. There's no light, there's no water, there's no school in that village.
But the army admitted it was an error.
No.
It does not matter what they admit.
And then apologized, right?
It does not matter what they admit. They went there, okay, look at the report. They went there and they were discussing with the people. After that, they left. The women now congregated and said the army didn't come to them. They lost their children. The army did not speak to them.
Because they are women now.
At all. That complaint is also there. So it's error upon error. This could have been averted. This was, avoidable. But here we are. We're not only counting our losses. We don't know where they're going to strike again.
Sincerely speaking.
And let me tell you, you see, the use of drone is actually airstrike.
True.
So it's not even in the purview of the jurisdiction of the army. The army will operate their infantry, their armor. The infantry soldiers, the one, the foot soldiers that will walk into the scene of war and do what they have to do. Air operation is an exclusive matter of NAF, Nigerian Air Force. Maybe that is why they are raising the issue that the army turned down the advice of the Air Force. It's not supposed to be their purview. By what I know in military operations. So they need to give us a lot of explanation.
And like I've said,
yes.
See, let me wrap my own thoughts with this.
And before you wrap your thoughts on that, I would love of you to equally add this question together with that. At this time, it's given that the mistakes has been done, people have died. Don't you think Gumi should be pacifying the community and creating, then exacerbating an issue that was an error? Don't you think it's responsibility?
So I think it depends on what angle of the matter you are coming in from. Let me say that what we need right now is more of justice than apologies. Apologies don't bring back the dead, but justice can bring healing.
Okay.
So you see, he just alluded to the fact that people, they went to the village, they didn't talk to the women who lost husbands, lost children, they didn't even talk to them.
Which could be religiously...
I honestly don't know, and I'm not sure I want to know.
Okay.
Then the president, if your service chiefs don't have it in mind to be fired, to resign, why having to relieve them of their duties? If there was bickering between the army and Air Force, strike or not to strike, did they resort to higher authority? Did they clear with the CDS, who is the chief of defense staff? Did they take the matter up with the NSC? Did the matter go up the chain? If it didn't go up the chain in spite of that disagreement, it means that then, like he said, Nigeria is run by anybody who just wants to do anything, and person does. And we know that the military is the last organ of government to run that way, because there's a clear chain of command.
Yes.
So, but if in spite of, look around the world, let's give it, barrister. If even in the US, you see that the Marines have forces that operate outside of their domain.
Yes.
Yes.
They are specialized.
Yes, exactly. So even the police can undertake helicopter operations.
Yes.
But the question is, first of all, Tudunbiri that was struck, how many times have they had any track record or history of terrorists converging there? For example, okay, how many camps of, so in spite of where they born, how many camps of terrorists are in Tudunbiri? As it is right now, this is not the time to talk of classified information. If we should even be discussing, should the military continue to use drones or not? These are matters that security experts experts of law, experts of government, lawmakers should be talking about.
They should.
They said they've apologized and the matter should end there.
How long have they practiced with drone?
Exactly, before they went and struck that
situation
last Sunday.
You ought to have used that for practice over time and ensure you are hitting your target. If you are supposed to hit rock A, and each time you practice you are hitting rock B, you shouldn't use it. You don't have precision.
But they said they had been successful in Zamfara. They had been successful in Zamfara. They've been successful in other places.
We are not aware of that. Let me just bring this in before you go to the next one. Yeah. There was a particular time, I think either the CIA or a particular group was trying to assassinate a president. I think it was Saddam Hussein. They mistakenly used a live round.
Yes.
Okay. That operation was ended.
Yes.
The fact that they were testing to use, how we are going to assassinate the president, and they mistakenly loaded a live round. Because normally, for the simulation, they were using rubber bullets. Yes. They mistakenly loaded a live round and fired it. That whole operation was crashed. How do we get to know these things? That's America.
Look at it. Did you see the attack on Osama bin Laden? Have you watched how he was killed? The M16 of the United States of America, when they noticed where he was, in the house where he was in Palestine, what they did was they flew an helicopter across the building and scanned the building. They scanned it from the top, came to America, built the same house in America, used the M16 to practice there every day for 2 years.
Yes.
To ensure
when they got in, the day they carried out the operation, Obama was in between the decision whether to strike or not. They showed that when the whole file was moved to his table, that he read the file and it took him 1 week. 1 week to make a decision as to whether they should go or not. Do you know what they did? They built 4 different helicopters for that operation. Built, not buy. Built for the operation. Now, when they built those 4 helicopters, they determined the distance. They measured the space. Yeah. They measured the lifestyle of the people when they go to bed and when they wake. They measured how frequent they come online. Because somebody tweeted that night. They saw that between a particular hour, there are just scanty few people that will be online at that period. So until then they came in at that time where everybody worn out. They came into the place. Unfortunately, when they got into the scene, one of the helicopters had problem and crash landed. He had landed with force. Do you understand? But because that technology is nowhere in the world, you know what they did? They left the helicopter there and moved into the building because they don't want to create noise. Do you know that precision, they moved and got to the house where the door, the particular guy who did the shot was interviewed, door marks. You understand? He merely opened the door, he knew where the man was. And it was one shot at the forehead. He fell on the other guys came, they used a tape to measure his height.
To ensure he was the one.
They took his skull off, took pictures, did everything, took him out, took the body away, got back to where somebody had tweeted already, people have started coming out. Then they set a bomb on that helicopter and destroyed it.
Yes.
Because they don't want anybody to take that technology.
Yes.
They don't want to leave it there. They now wrapped themselves into the other 3 helicopters and took off. Took the body and threw the body into the Atlantic Ocean. After everything had been certified. Precision.
I doubt it if in Nigeria you can undertake such an operation in which the president.
The operation was I think 16 minutes. 16 minutes from landing, all the operation, everything they took off. It's online, you cannot see it. You understand? So the Geneva Convention that talked about precision. If it was the Nigerian army that went there, they will bomb the whole place. It's one enemy, sir. It's one enemy that is in that place. The law is that you must spot the enemy, the target. They didn't shoot any other person that was not. And did you know how they got to know about the place? Some of the American delegates, detective went through, there were some children were playing football.
Playing there.
You understand? And these guys had put something in one of the footballs.
Ball.
They are true.
And true to them.
Yeah, true to the children.
Yes.
When they finished playing, the children took everything inside. That ball, the military brought the ball, but children didn't know, but the balls were many. So just took their one inside. That ball had a scanner that did all the work. And it has a back end somewhere where you are picking all the structure of the house. And that is how, combined with the scanning they did on air, they had to match it to ensure that it is either a 4-bedroom flat, a 6-bedroom bungalow, or whatever. And they were able to determine the one where he stays. And that was how they got him. So we have to develop intelligence to the level where we'll not just go fly across villages and just throwing drones anyhow. We are reducing the population needlessly. This is a population that the government is unable to feed. The government have no facilities for them.
No plans for them.
No plan, nothing. So this is an unfortunate situation.
It is really an unfortunate situation. Technology, they say, is good, but the use of technology, I guess, should be done efficiently. Now let's move straight to our second headline newspapers for today, and it's on Vanguard. And still, in continuation of the big story we have, we will be 100% sure before bombing targets. That's the military. That's what they are saying. So I would love us to go into that for a bit, but before that, I would love us to see other what made the headlines on the Vanguard today. Also, we have federal government increases import duty rate by 22.24%, third time in 1 year. Now, without wasting so much time, I know we had enough time discussing about this issue, what Gumi said, and the responsibility of the military, what they had done, what they should have done. But for a bit, I don't know, since it's making headline, and now the military is taking another trajectory. It is saying we will be 100% sure before bombing targets.
That is a messing up target. There is a law already that
Yes.
there is a signatory to, which says you must be 100% sure. That law has been breached. They should be talking about penalties.
Seriously.
International penalties to that.
Seriously.
That is where we are.
Seriously.
It's not now you tell us. It's part of your training. It's part of the rules of engagement. So it's like coming to tell us now that you will be sure that everybody is asleep before you bomb them. That's what they're telling us. Yes. Because I mean, what this information is for what?
What is the guarantee? What is the guarantee that?
Let me quickly comment.
Yeah.
And maybe this will be a rider to everything I've said before. The point is this: have we concluded the investigation into the bombing to ascertain that it was done in error? Okay. And then are we now showing repentance based on certified copies of investigation to show that that bombing was done in error? Do you get what I'm saying? Because putatively we believe something went wrong, but it's not for us to say something went wrong or not. There's an investigation to show where what went wrong. With that document, we should not be talking about the military, because you see, it is not so much about about the bombing itself. It's about how government is handling the bombing. Is what's giving rise to the feeling that this was indeed planned. I don't think it was planned. I don't think that President Tinubu wants to bomb the north. I don't think that's what he wants to do. But the way they are handling it, the military, like Barrister Ofeli said, there's law, and they're talking about we'll be more sure next time before we bomb. What are you talking about? You are running this country like pre-civilization country. You get what I'm saying? So if indeed they should wait first, let the probe be complete. If the probe comes to say that this was where the error came, they will say, okay, who are responsible? They will know the heads that are going to roll. It is only when that has happened, okay, that we can now say, okay, going forward, what's the new national protocol?
Yes.
Security protocol. It's not enough to say we'll more sure next time. What do you even mean by that? The DHQ saying we'll be 100% sure next time. If you are not 100%, so are they bombing all these with 40% sure, 50% sure? What does that even mean? It doesn't look like these people are aware of what they should be doing. Let me say this. You know, for a long time now, military appointments to be service chief and was the army chief and so on are all based on ethnic quota, political whatever, so recommendation. So so we are not looking for the best hands to do the best just for us. 1982 Professor Achebe wrote that book, The Trouble with Nigeria, and in it he posited that look, as at that time there was no Nigerian post or office being manned by the best Nigerian for that job. That he challenged Akare to point to anybody in government that was the best one for any job that he had appointed to. Today, we are worse off for it. When you have like some have said, the worst of us ruling the rest of us, you will be having these results. But sincerely, if the army cannot in modern warfare pinpoint a target and bomb precisely, do we really have an army?
Now, let me coach you. You did say we know the heads that will rule.
Of course.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has no experience in military formation, in military intelligence and all of that. What do you think he has to say about all of this?
No,
does he have experience?
Yes. Listen, the president appointed a retired police officer as national security advisor. Let me tell you something. Even within the three arms, the army, navy and air force, the armies of many countries always see themselves as the as the primus inter pares. Particularly in Nigeria, maybe if it's in the US, the air force most likely, in Britain, the navy, but I can tell that in Nigeria, the army believes that they are the mother of. Did you ever hear of Air Force staging a coup in Nigeria? Air Force or Navy? It has always been the army. In the UK, a naval officer attempted to stage a coup one time, but he failed. In Nigeria, so the army believes that they're the lion and eagle of the Nigerian military. Now, appointing a police officer, we don't even know how these service chiefs perceive reporting to Nuhu Ribadu, a former police officer who was just a police officer.
Yes, they will see him as inferior.
But did he sign off on this assignment? That's the problem. Did he sign off on it? If you ask me for the years that the president by now should have relieved the service chiefs of the
Who should relieve?
The president.
The president should relieve them. This
from the NSA down to the first minister, he should have fired all of them. That is the way to prove to doubters that this bombing he is not interested in it, that he is not profiting from it. It's a simple thing to do. You fire them so that they not also influence the investigation into the bombing that is going on. That is if one is even going on. Frankly speaking, we've come to the point where I'm looking for the right word to describe this thing. The president's son and friends of Heritage will be attending council, entering council chamber during FEC meeting. Now, the other day, the president was going to Dubai for COP28. The president's son
his chiefs.
What do you call that kind of thing? That kind of kangaroo kind of.
It's called a prodigal voyage.
A prodigal voyage.
When there's so much money.
I don't understand it.
When there's so much money to waste in the country.
So the kind of thing they talk about, it's just us, no vex now, I beg now, let's just manage it. So that kind of thing.
Now you see, if the military had mistakenly hit maybe the National Assembly or the quarters of the ministers, hit these big people, by now heads will be rolling. But because they hit a negligible village, so to speak, now they are telling us that they will be 100% sure.
What does that even mean?
Henceforth, that is an admission of incompetence. For me, I think even the NSA, even the National Security Advisor, all of them should be sacked.
Forthwith.
They should sack, all of them should be
forthwith.
Sacked. Because they should have first-hand information on what they are doing. You cannot prosecute armed conflict with this kind of attitude. So now it tells you why the insurgents were winning the war all this while. Do you know how many times the army have been ambushed by the insurgents? Do you know how many soldiers we have lost by ambush only? Even in the war front, do you know how many times I used to have a friend who said one particular night when the attack became heavy, that they were shooting from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. in the morning.
Whoa.
And they ran out of ammunition. And they had to retreat. Why the insurgents were,
on the front foot.
Coming after them. You understand? They had to run away. Left their rifles, left everything there.
Well, I understand the emotions. The emotions are high, but let's shift base a little bit and come to our economy. You know, because all of these things, it's a network. It all has a way of affecting one thing or another. We have federal government increases import duty rate by 22.24%. Now we understand the exchange rate is driving away investors out of Nigeria and all of that. Why is it difficult for people who are in authorities to understand that this is hurting our economy? Let me start from you.
When the Finance Act, okay,
Let me start from you, Mr. Cyril.
So let's understand something. I think we are under a dispensation in which law is not the primary issue. The primary issue is will and might.
Will and might.
Will and might, and the ability to circumvent anything as far as there are no checks and balances. What this government is interested in is how much more money it can rake in at whatever, regardless of the consequence that brings to bear on people's businesses, on people's pockets, on the economy. You can't tell me that the reason why the dollar is scarce is because the dollar is not scarce. It is because it is being made to be scarce. Okay, so you hear almost every, it's the general inflation. What government is doing is anything they can get away with, they will just be willing to, and they will just gladly get away with it as far as they have their way. Where will is what is making way, there's great danger there because it will lead to lawlessness eventually. We are seeing it in every sphere of our life. We're seeing it with businesses, to the companies that are packing up and saying, you know what, we've tried, but just within 6 months or 7 months of the government in power, they are all taken to their heels. Clearly tells you that this is a sign that all is not well and that all is not likely to even get well anytime soon. So where we need to reverse ourselves, let us reverse ourselves. The government shouldn't feel beaten if it did that. Its policies where it reverses so that you can reinduce confidence in the system and get people with money to put their funds down. But once that can happen, then we're heading for the worst.
But it is happening the third time in 1 year. Are we losing control of who is in charge?
Well, this when the Finance Act was made in 2020, when it was enacted, that 2020 there was a reduction in the prices of the excise duty and import duty, okay, and even waivers on some levies, okay. Now, when VAT was increased to 7.5%, they had to amend the Finance Act in 2021, okay. When it was amended in 2021, those duties, okay, those waivers were retained up until the federal government got to a point where it started calling on the agencies of government. Buhari issued a warning them that they should go and raise money to fund the budget. We should ensure that they raise money to fund the budget. 1 month later, they went back and put a policy on those excise duty and started increasing. This is the third time after a waiver. You understand? Now, you get the feeling that this also hamper investors.
Definitely.
Okay? When policy inconsistency, today you are saying there's a waiver, tomorrow you are saying the price has gone up. Even when you have a VAT rate of 7.5%, okay, you are strangling the economy because the government is not creative. The government is extractive. It's only interested in extracting, but not creative enough to create the environment that will determine foreign direct investment. You see this bomb that we just talked about. That's all you need not to get an investor.
Yeah,
definitely true.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because the investor will be thinking, so if our factory,
how safe is our
that place now, they will send a drone there. You understand? So it's in the PR, the way we manage PR in Nigeria, we manage it so poorly. Yesterday in Las Vegas, there was a gun shooting.
Yeah,
in
the university,
Vegas.
yeah.
Okay, that some persons were shot around about 50-something persons were shot down by one man.
Yeah, a professor.
Yeah, who later also killed himself.
Yeah.
So he was found dead. That's one report. Nobody knows whether he committed suicide along the line and all that. But did you see the way the issue was managed by the United States government? They're able to get to the root and the source, the cause. Okay, they're able to trace everything to a point where you will know that these people have a serious coordination on security. You understand? See the way we're managing our own. The one that not individually induced, institutionally induced. They will just come out and say, next time.
To not happen again.
Next time we'll be sure, 100% sure. What it means is that all the while you were not sure. What's the difference between the Wiki and Buhari, who is never aware of anything?
Exactly.
So now you are going to so
Who authorized this crime?
the way you talk and the way you coordinate your malfeasance speaks a lot to the international community. Then later you turn around the next day and say foreign direct investment. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You have to be coordinated. We are not coordinated. That's the reason why all these issues are unable to run the economy. Nigerian economy, how big is Nigerian economy? How big is this economy that they cannot run it? The Nigerian economy is far lesser than the economy of California as a state in the US. You understand? How many are we, really? What is the critical infrastructure that government have put money on that warrant them to increasing prices of excise duties and duties across the port? How big is the port? The money you have generated from that port for the last 20 years, what have you done with it? So when you ask all these questions, you just discover that it doesn't look like we're going anywhere. This country is in trouble. I'm not telling you, this country is in trouble.
It's in serious trouble.
Truly, the country is in trouble. They say to whom more is given, much is expected. We would have wished for more time to digest more on issues we have on our newspaper headline, but that's just about the time we have on this segment of our Enterprise Morning. And thanks to our distinguished guest, Barrister Ofeli, for being here. And Mr. Cyril, thank you so very much for being a part of our show today. When we return, Tom Polo's firm, Tantita Navy face off over vessel arrested with stolen crude oil. That's when we come back. Please don't go anywhere.
Enterprise TV, your one-stop shop for news, programs, human angle stories, the economy, sports, and much more. We go the extra mile to bring incredible details to you. So hop on the train now. Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.